everyone. Welcome to another episode of Art and Science. This is our seventh episode and our third year in a row that I'm here in my office in Paris from World Chef's office and with Chef Paolo in Italy, who has, as usual, prepared a fantastic video for us. Hello, Chef Paolo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again.
I know for sure that today is going to be a longer video than usual. So I'm going to very quickly want to ask you, what should our chef expect for today?
So, first of all, thanks a lot for giving the chance to work again together. It has been a really interesting video that we have filmed. The topic is really interesting because we talk about wastage. So we talk about creativity indirectly because together with a bit of knowledge, expertise, and technology, we are able, according to creativity and some skills, to recreate and rebring to a second life some of many ingredients that usually are thrown in the bin. So I have just picked up 4 of my top favorite leftovers, and I have give them a rebirth according to 4 different recipes. So I'm really happy to be here for showcasing you what we have during the next 60 minutes.
Amazing. So for chefs, we're going to start now. I'm going to start playing the video. If you have any questions, please write them in the question and answer section. Today, the question and answer discussion will be a bit different. Chef Paolo will answer directly there. So feel free to use the session. And if you have any questions, write in the chat. I already see the chat that is exploding from everywhere. I see Iraq, Poland, Nigeria. Hello all. Hello Bulgaria, Palestine, Azerbaijan, Amsterdam, everywhere. So we're going to start because we have a lot to talk today. Chef Paolo, thank you. And we will catch up in the end of the video.
Enjoy. Ciao, my name is Paolo Pettenuzzo, chef of Electrolux Professional. I want to welcome you into this new episode, From Waste to Wonder. Concept of the masterclass is transform 4 global summer waste ingredients into an innovative and creative sweet recipe series by combining Electrolux Professional technologies with creativity. What will you learn? Well, thanks to the advanced technology support, especially Skyline Premium S, Skyline Chill S, and our dynamic prep, you will discover how easy and interesting is to use leftovers into innovative recipes. The limit, as always I say, the creativity of the chef. Let's get inspired and think out of the box. These are just 4 of a traditional summer leftovers in kitchens. We will start and we will reuse, readapt, and combine together some of the most common leftover of the kitchen during a daily operation working hours into a place like the one we are staying and seeing today. Let's start from explaining you what are the single ingredients and the single elements I will reuse and readapt into 4 different recipes. Chickpeas. As we all know, with chickpeas we can do tons of different things, from main courses, side dish, soups, and so on. But what about the aquafaba, so the water from this? Well, as many of us know, we can use it as an alternative of egg whites. And today we will discover a wonderful recipe, a gluten-free and vegan chocolate cake. Passing through. As an Italian, but not only, we are in love with coffee. Together with coffee ground, so the exhaust of the coffee ground that we have recently dehydrated overnight, we are going to recreate a wonderful dessert. This could be a biscuit, a cookie, or something else. Today it will be the base of a wonderful dessert. Passing through bread and croissant. Of course, the old ones, so the leftover from the day before. These two ingredients, but especially bread, represent more or less the 33% of the global waste. What does it mean? That 1/3 of the leftovers of a restaurant are mainly represented by these ingredients. Together with these two ingredients, plus some skins, in this case of pears, that I have recently dehydrated together with some sugar, I will recreate a very interesting, innovative, and creative dessert. A multi-layer dessert made of paste, sweet one, together with some layers of mix that we will combine within induction zone, and we will create something really interesting. Last but not least, one of my favorite fruit ever, watermelon. As we all know, watermelon is mainly made of water and sugar. But what happens of the skins? Well, these skins are usually thrown in the bin, are wasted. And today we are going to recreate some sous vide, actually in jar candies, perfect for the end of a wonderful meal or as a traditional candy during the day. Let's move all of these apart and let's start with the first recipe, our gluten-free vegan chocolate cake. In front of myself, all of the ingredients for our cake. We start from the aquafaba, so the leftover liquid from the chickpeas. Together with some sugar, we have some flour, in this case gluten-free, some chocolate, some vegan chocolate that I really love from Caruba, some milk made of almond or rice, depending on your preferences, some chocolate and salted peanut paste, vegetable oil, in this case I have used sunflower, and last but not least some macadamia nuts and some tonka fava beans. What we are going to do? Simply, in a very traditional and common way, we are going to reuse the same approach of making a cake, so together with a stand mixer, but using these ingredients. We will start from mixing our aquafaba together with some sugar. As soon as we will achieve the spongy effect, we will add bit by bit all the rest of the ingredients. I personally suggest you to do this thing. Paste together with oil, the rice or almond milk, and the chocolate all together in a tiny pot to gently get liquid. And then it will be easier, much easier to incorporate with the rest of our cake. So let's move into our dynamic prep area and let's start with the preparation of our ingredients. As you have seen, I've started combining sugar and aquafaba. And right now they are whipping gently into our stand mixer. In the meantime, I have mixed and matched our vegan chocolate, the vegetable oil, the rice or almond milk, and of course our salted peanuts paste. I am gently dissolving the whole thing, creating a liquid that I will add into our whipped whites. Level 1 on our induction zone, will maintain and dissolve really gently our mix. Together with the level 1, we are working in between 40 and 55 degrees, so a perfect temperature for melting chocolate. More or less 7 to 8 minutes and the job is done. Are you ready for this? Look at this. As if it was egg whites. But actually we are talking about aquafaba. As soon as we have achieved this result, we are ready to go on with the rest of the ingredients. So our mix of liquids and chocolate goes directly into our aquafaba whip. Since this mix is a bit warm, be really gentle with the whisking. I'm using a spatula just to incorporate the mix and to create a wonderful result. Slightly from bottom to top to avoid from losing the air into the mix. Bit by bit, it will start to get tanned and colored. And this is more or less the result. What else? Our gluten-free flour. I prefer to sieve it, even if most of the time the gluten-free flour is really thin and airy. I prefer to repass it another time. So bit by bit, using a sieve. You can do it in one time only or in 2 times. I prefer to incorporate in 2 times. You could do it directly using our stand mixer, but I prefer to do it manually, just to be sure to respect as much as possible the aquafaba. Anyway, we talk about a liquid that is full of air, so the more we whip and beat together with the machine, the more is easy to lose part of the airy effect. And in this case, since we are not using any real eggs, I would avoid to do it with the machine, and I would prefer to do it manually. A quick clean now, and after that we are ready to go into our mold. Before getting the mix into the mold, let's set the cooking cycle. Together with our Skyline Premium S, we are going to set a manual cooking cycle. So from the top drawer, we go to manual mode. I select convection, 175 degrees for 25 minutes. Ventilation level number 4. And of course, closed valve. I want to keep all the humidity generated by the cake to have a wonderful proof. After that, on the left side of the screen, I select a second step and I go to 165 with ventilation number 6 and another 25 minutes. But in this case, I will open our vent, so to let dehydrate a bit the outside of our cake. Press the start. In more or less 2 minutes, I will have my oven ready. So I have enough time to fulfill my mold, decorate, and go straight into the oven. I personally prefer to use some baking paper, even if the mold is non-stick, simply because of the fact that at the end I can use it just to unfold the cake or what I'm cooking, and at the same time baking paper is also really nice as a decoration, as an alternative way to present something that is homemade, artisanal, and why not, something cool to see. So starting from the mix that is perfect inside, I'm adding a bit of smoked salt just to give a bit of a hint, something that I really love. is adding salt on top of cakes, biscuits, and dessert in general. I finish together with my microplane to pass the leftover part of our tonka fava bean. These will give an extra nuttiness on our cake and at the same time a bit of vanilla and sugar with a bit of bitterness and savory twist. And our macadamia. Grate it on top, really gently to cover our cake. Don't be worried. It's quite fatty as a nut, so it's not gonna be too dark and overcooked or burnt. And here we are. We are ready to go into the oven, and for the next 40 minutes we have enough time to move to the next recipe. "40 to 45 minutes, depending on the height and on the mold you are looking at. But now, let's move to the next leftover ingredient, one of my favorites, coffee. In front of myself, all of the ingredients for the next recipe. We talk about coffee ground, so the leftover of the coffee powder we use to get our coffee during the day. What I have prepared? I have actually thought about something that is really interesting, at the same time easy to be done, a lot of people love it, and using our coffee ground. So as I said at the beginning, I have just saved our coffee ground, the leftover from the coffee making, and dehydrate into our oven overnight. 50 degrees, open valve, ventilation level number 1. And the morning after, what we get is a super dried and thin and nice, high in perfume coffee ground. We are going to recreate a cheesecake, but a different style of cheesecake. First of all, usually cheesecake is baked in the oven because we have eggs inside. I'm going to recreate a white base that does not deserve any baking. So only Philadelphia cheese, so cream cheese, mascarpone, a light, fresh Italian ricotta, and mix and match together with some powdered sugar, double milk, and of course a bit of gelatin. We will do the compost using our Trinity Pro, so our blender that can be used as also a whipping machine when we need to incorporate multiple ingredients at the same time. On the other side, we are going to recreate a cookie dough. Actually, it's going to be the base of our cheesecake, but the mix can be used also as a base for making cookies, biscuits, and much more. I will use for sure double sugar, so as in the American cookies, both the white one and the brown one. Together with these, some flour, of course, a lot of butter. I'm going to reuse some smoked Maldon salt, egg yolk, and our coffee ground. In this case, I will mix and match coffee and pistachio just to give a bit of a twist. And all of these ingredients are going to be used together with a pedal accessory in our BE5, so our stand mixer. Let's start now from the first part of the ingredients. So I'm going to gently level 3, adding our double cream. And as soon as this will be more or less 40, 50, 60 degrees, I will add our gelatin. You can use also agar-agar, is up to you. In this case, I'm going to use gelatin. Be sure that you're going to erase, in this case, eliminate all of the water, just to have the right consistency. Since I'm using 3 types of cheese and some icing sugar, I would personally use some gelatin just to keep the tenderness, the moisture, but at the same time, a dough that is stable and nice and beautifully well done over the day in case you are leaving the cake on a refrigerated base. Super easy to be dissolved. As soon as the gelatin is almost done, I can switch off the induction and perfectly well incorporate the double cream together with the gelatin. Let's leave these on side and let's pass to the next step. As I said, I'm going to mix mascarpone cheese, 500 grams, same amount of fresh ricotta, and same amount of Philadelphia cheese, so a traditional cream cheese. This total amount of 1.5 kg is good for more or less 3 cakes. Together with these ingredients, our icing sugar, and we are ready to go into our Trinity Pro. On top of our lid, there will be a hole where we can easily add our liquid. So no need of opening and closing bit by bit to incorporate, but we can easily go direct. Speed number 1, and just press the start. A scraper will help you to be sure to incorporate perfectly well the ingredients. Do not exaggerate with the speed, otherwise the fresh ricotta will split and you will have a grainy result, something that we want for sure to avoid from this cake. As I said, we add the liquid from the top and we gently stir. In this case, if you want, you can add some vanilla, you can add some flavors, you can add also some of the coffee ground. But I want to keep it really, really white, nice, and of course, shiny. Next step, our base for the coffee cheesecake, and of course, the same mix that we can use for biscuits. I start from the butter, the 2 sugars, and with the pedal, we start from mixing really well and slightly whip our mix of the ingredients. Level number 5 for a couple of minutes, and after that we are ready to go with the rest of the ingredients. First, the egg yolk, and after that, coffee, pistachio, and flour. The mix is slightly whipped, and I'm ready to go with the egg yolk. Gently for 30 to 40 seconds. In the meantime, I'm waiting for this. I will add half of the coffee ground into our mix of flour, a bit of salt and bicarbonate. Just to make it simple, I'm going to move away from the stand mixer our mix, adding then the flour and the coffee. And get it back into our stand mixer. Be sure to start really slow because we have a lot of flour going on. And here we are with the dough. Now, of course, in this case, we are going to add a bit of the mix on the bottom of our cake base. You can do it with your hands, you can do it with a sac à poche, as you prefer. And as you see, just very easy and simply, I just laid down the mix of our butter, sugar, eggs, coffee grounds, leftovers, and of course, all the rest of the ingredients that are making our base. On top of our base, some pistachios. These will add a bit of crunchiness, and I can use some on the base and some on the top of our cheesecake. These will go straight into our oven. And another interesting thing, since we are talking about leftover, we talk about cooking intelligently. So I'm using the same cooking process of our oven just to partially bake our base. What we are going to do is simply getting into the oven for more or less 10 to 12 minutes, and after that straight into our blast chiller, because the base must be super cold to receive afterwards the mix of the free cheese and all the rest of the ingredients we have prepared with the Trinity crop. So right now, let's go into our oven. 15 minutes left for the cake we have been cooking before. And right now, we are happy to go and to move to the next step. 10 seconds left. Our baking is almost done. And of course, our Skyline chillers ready to go at a temperature of -41. Here you are, the first preparation. We have prepared and baked together our vegan gluten-free chocolate cake. On the other side, the base of our cheesecake. Right now, this, as I have anticipated before, goes directly into our blast chiller. But since I want to keep it really thin and completely flat, I'm using the same I have used before and just do a little press on top. These will flatten down our base. Blast chiller, 10 to 15 minutes, and after that, we go with the mix of the cheese. As I've said at the real beginning, this second recipe is quite intriguing. I love to prepare cheesecake in a different way. I love to avoid from using eggs and from using the baking, because I really prefer the freshness of the texture of the mix of the free cheese together combined with a bit of double cream icing sugar, some vanilla or some flavors on top. And look-wise, in my opinion, is much more interesting. So as I said, these are just two ingredients that we have used. On one side, the aquafaba, on the other side, our coffee ground. And of course, they can be also mixed and matched together with other preparations like biscuits and much more. So right now, let's move to take our mix created with cheese. And in the meantime, we are waiting for the chill down of our base. Let's prepare the final touch before serving. And now let's do our cake. Still really warm and nice. Flavor super intense, and the inside fluffy and full of humidity. Of course, the best way ever to do it would be to wait at least 25 to 30 minutes because it's still very soft and warm. Okay, and since we are using gluten-free flour, the mix is very tender. But as you can see, the shape, the color, and the whole thing looks really nice and intriguing. I'm going to move this thing away for a while, but before, let's add some whipped vegetable cream on top. And some chickpeas, just to recall the influence of aquafaba into the whole preparation. And the first recipe is done. And now let's finish our second recipe, our cheesecake. Really gently, let's take out our biscuit base. And bit by bit, very artisanal style, let's start by adding our cheese mix. As I said, this is 1.5 kilograms, so you are enough to do at least 3 cakes. I love to do it in this way because it's very nice. It gets this beautiful home style, intriguing texture. So what we are going to do right now is just to recreate a handmade, interesting top frosting. We add some pistachio granola on top, some coffee ground as if it was vanilla, and of course some rest before serving. So these go straight into the fridge for 1 hour, or at least 25 to 30 minutes in our blast chiller with a soft chilling cycle. And after that, we are ready to serve it. In the meantime, we are waiting for our cheesecake to cool down before slicing. Let's move into the next recipe. So the recipe number 3. This is actually the most interesting in my opinion according to technology, but at the same time according to the concept of zero waste. So as I have anticipated at the beginning, we talk about multiple different ingredients, in this case leftover ones, that are going to be reused in an alternative way. We are going to recreate another cake. is a sort of mix in between a Medovic and a mille-feuille. In this case, we are going to recreate the layers of a Medovic, and we are recalling the flavor of a mille-feuille. We have used some leftover bread, some leftover croissant, and the skins of some pears. In this case, just to make it easier, much more simple and quicker, we have pre-prepared some different things, but no worries about it. You will get all of the recipes step by step, including ingredients and quantities. First of all, the filling, or I would say the cream in between the different layers. This is the result of what we have done. How did we get it? Very simple. We started from the old croissant from a couple of days before, mixed and matched together with some pears that we have pre-cooked sous vide. They can be boiled, they can be cooked together with some plastic film into a microwave, but just to soften it up without the skins, because the skins we saved it, and after that we will blend it together with some sugar to recreate a sort of extra twist at the real end of the service. And a mix of two types of powders. One is cinnamon and the other one is licorice. So 1, 2, and 3 all together in our Trinity Pro to blend, creating this beautiful nutty cream. This will be the one that we will use in between the layers. But what about the layers? Actually, for the layers, we have mixed and matched some old bread, and we have mixed it together with some egg yolk, some milk, and of course with a bit of sugar, just because we talk about let's say a sweet preparation. So in a certain way we have in Italy something similar that we call crespelle. But crespelle are savory, and they are usually made of flour, egg yolk, milk, and a bit of salt. In this case, we have used breadcrumbs, so the old bread blended together with milk and sugar. If you want to have something easier, you can also add a bit of flour, but I would say 70% breadcrumbs and 30% max of flour. This is the actual result. A bit grainier, but at the same time really nice and close to the texture of a traditional crespella. Induction zone, non-stick pan, a bit of vegetable oil just to avoid from sticking, and we go for the first crespella base. Three to 4 spoons. Don't worry about being really precise, because later on, together with this, we will recreate the perfect shape. Few seconds at level number 3 or level number 4. We are in between 120 and 150 degrees. And as soon as you will start looking at the dough and seeing the bubbling, it will be the right time to flip it over to the other side. Don't worry about being difficult or not. Actually, this is just the first one. That is the most difficult one. As soon as the first one will be done, the pan will have and will achieve the right temperature, and it will be much easier. Quickly moving it, so we let the humidity escape. It's gonna take more or less 20 to 30 seconds max. We want to keep it not raw, but at the same time full of moist. So don't let it stay, don't let it sit too much, okay? and we display it on a plate. Again and again, until I would say at least 5 to 6 layers, depending on how high you want to get it. The same mix can be used for many different things. You can mix and match with some jam or some marmalade. You can use it as a base for some rolls, or you can actually freeze it and combine it with some ice cream. So again, as I said at the beginning of the video, the creativity is the only one limit. In the meantime, I'm waiting for the layers to cool down a bit. Let's blend our mix of sugar and pear skins. This is just a result of something that can be used as a flavored sugar, as a dressing for some desserts, or as we are going to do, as an extra flavor. The perfume is so intense and nice. It looks like there's a real pear floating in the air on top of the sugar. As soon as this is done, we move into our oven to dehydrate before using it. So again, 50 degrees, ventilation level number 1, just for 20 to 25 minutes. The last is going to be done, and after that we are ready to assemble our dessert. Using these tools, starting from the first one, let's recreate the shape we want to get. Leftover ones can be reused for an alternative preparation, such as different type of desserts or different preparation. I would love to have you here because the flavor that I'm right now feeling is really a mix and match of breadcrumbs and sugar and a bit of milk. Really, really intense. So let's start from the beginning. First layer, as I said, the mix of the old croissant together with some pears, pre-cooked, and some cinnamon and licorice. You can help yourself with the spatula, or if you are skilled and good enough, you can easily just give a bit of a press. So again, starting from the center, going out, until the edge, and next layer. Bit press, and go to the next one. The last layer is the most important one. As you have seen, I haven't cut it. This is going to cover perfectly, but you can choose if you want to do it or not. In this case, I love to keep it as it is. So I'm simply going to quick recover or add some of the filling that I have used all over, just to be sure that it is present all over the cake. Precision in this case is the key of the success of the cake. Perfectly well. Right now we are going to take this, put it in a plate or in a tray and chill it down. So to create a sort of a firmer, more stiff result. It's gonna be much easier to slice it afterwards and to complete the plate. With our Skyline Chill S, from the manual mode, we go to the automatic, we go to bread, and we go to burger rolls, freeze. We move -16 to -5, and we press the OK. If the appliance is already pre-cooled down, we can easily skip the pre-cooling and we can go into the actual blast chilling. But let's get the appliance to manage by itself. In the meantime, we move away these ingredients and we go ready for the plating. These pears are actually perfectly cooked, so they can be served and eaten like this. But in this case, just to give a bit of a hint, I prefer to roast them with no ingredients at all. So I'm just using the sugar content of themselves to caramelize the slice that I have done right now. Easily, maximum temperature, just for a few seconds per side. As soon as we have flipped them over, we can easily notice the vibrant color. A bit of a smoky flavor, really intense, but still golden brown, even if we haven't actually used any sugar on top. This is just the actual internal sugar content of the pear itself. And the fact of cooking it natural, so without any other sugar content, but sous vide, gives us the possibility to save all the flavor, but at the same time the sugar. Liquid will be actually used later on for the plating and to be accompanied with our pears. The base is cooled down and it's gonna be much easier to cut it in small portion. I want to start from the pears, just a couple of slices, and I would like to add a bit of the juice of the pear itself, just to let it shine a bit more and to give an extra accent to the fruit itself. After that, quick slice. This can be done in quarters. And remember to clean your knife in between one slice and the other one. Here we are. And the plate is done. Our mille-feuille mixed together with a Medevik cake made of a triple leftover ingredient. In between the layers, a mix and match of pears, old croissant, some cinnamon, and some licorice. The layers are made of breadcrumbs instead of regular flour. And our pears that have been cooked sous vide at a temperature of 95 degrees with no other ingredients, just plain. On top, our icing sugar mixed with the pear skins. And this is it. Time for the cheesecake. The cake is set at least for 45 minutes to 1 hour in the fridge, and we are ready to display. Simple as it is. As we said, the base is a biscuit base made of traditional ingredients for biscuits, for cookies, plus the leftover coffee grain. On top, we have a traditional but different approach of a cheesecake. So something lighter without any cooking involved. So just a mix and match of 3 types of cheese: fresh ricotta, mascarpone, and cream cheese, with a bit of icing sugar and some gelatin to keep the shape. We are going to finish it up with some drops of orange, just to give a bit of a hint and a bit of acidity on top of the plate. And our cheesecake is done. And now let's move to the final part of this masterclass. Watermelon. Actually, as I said at the beginning, watermelon is one of my favorite fruits. But what happens on the 39% of the whole weight of a traditional watermelon? Well, most of the time it's thrown in the bin. So what we are going to do right now is to recreate a sort of delight recipe, very simple, using a bit of steam and a water container. So I would say we are going to recreate a sort of a tangy, spicy end of a meal made of something that is really intriguing because all of the people love, and we talk about candies, but using these part of the fruit. So in this case, super simple. We are going to start by letting an amount of water to boil. So we talk about more or less a liter of water and 350 grams of sugar. After that, of course, is quite personal. If you want to have it a bit more sweet, you can add a bit of sugar. If you want to have it more close to the natural flavor, of course, you can avoid from adding it. For what regards the skins, I simply take out the green part and I achieve, let's say, these kind of super soft, more or less a bit soggy part of the watermelon. What I'm doing right now is just taking away the edges just to recreate a shape, so a rectangular shape. And from here, I'm going to slice it in two and recreate some diamonds shape. It can be squarey, it can be rectangular, it can be in thin stripes, how you prefer. In the meantime, the water is already boiling and we are almost there for the next step. This preparation can be done many days in advance. It takes more or less 45 minutes and you need to let it rest for at least a couple of days before eating it. Because the mix and match of sugar, water and the cooking procedure plus the resting time will recreate that super interesting flavor but the right texture of the candy. The water is already boiling, so I simply add some pink pepper, super nice and great for digestion, and some ginger. I leave it like this, so not even peeling. I let the ginger boil. This mix and match of ginger and pink pepper is great when we talk about the end of a meal, because it's helping out the digestion of every single person that is eating. This can be also served as a pre-dessert, so a sort of a tiny bite before the actual dessert. And it can be served as it is, so after the boiling and the cooking in the oven with steam, or it can be also dehydrated for a gummy jelly effect. In more or less 1 minute, the water will start to get yellowy, kind of a pinky because of the pink pepper, and you could already feel the tangy flavor and the spiciness of the ginger. At this time, we add the sugar. Again, up to you the quantity. I usually go for 30% of the amount of water. It's a good combination in between sweet but not too much. At the end of the boiling, we can easily move the whole pot into our blast chiller. Before getting into the actual container and go straight in the oven for a 35 minutes cooking with 95 degrees full steam, I want to chill the contents down. First of all, to get it inside super easy. Secondary, because with the thermal shock I can keep the flavor of the inside. I can get stick to the original color, so the mix in between slightly white, greenish and reddish flavor and color. And last but not least, to avoid from having our candies too chewy and too soft. Our blast chiller is already prepared, right now working at a temperature of 0 degrees. We let the water, the pink pepper and the ginger infused our skins just for 1 minute. And more or less this is the result. As you can see, it starts already to get shiny and in a certain way kind of transparent. When you can see easily through in the edge of every single piece, is the time to stop. Switch off the induction and it can go straight into our blast chiller. Again, continuous chilling, 0 degrees for more or less 10 minutes. Now, when we talk about cooking, we have many options. We can cook in bags, we can cook in jars, we can cook in every single container. Of course, today we are doing it in a jar, first of all because it's nicer in the looking, because we don't need to use every single time plastic containers. So instead of using mono-use bags, we can easily use alternative containers that can be washed and reused in a second moment. Almost cold. As you can see, just in few minutes, you can already see through the different layers. So we can fill it up. If you want to have an extra accent of the ginger, so a more intensified back flavor of the ginger, you can also insert some slices of it into the jar Otherwise, you can just fill it up with the watermelon and use them as they are. As soon as we achieve the edge of the container, we can pour some of the juice. Perfect. Give a tiny press. And we are ready to go. Just a squeeze to be sure that the liquid is perfectly well around every single piece and directly into the oven. As I said, 95 degrees, 40 to 45 minutes, full steam, according to this size of every single candy. In the meantime, we are waiting. We can do a quick recap and talk about what we have seen today. So we have been talking about the creativity mixed together with the zero waste concept. The idea of thinking out of the box, mixing and matching ingredients that usually are thrown in the bin and that can be reused in an alternative and sometimes really spicy, interesting way. As I said, these are just 4 examples of how we can reuse, readapt, reinvent, and rediscover old, nowadays or future flavors. And of course, it has been super great to think about these 4 desserts and to share them together with you all. In the meantime, we are waiting for the cooking. I would like to take the advantage to thank you all for being part of this masterclass. And of course, don't worry about the recipes. Today has been quite intense and full of steps. It will be my pleasure to attach together with the masterclass all the recipes with quantities and ingredients. And here we are. Super easy. Lift the clip, pull a bit the rubber band, simply amazing. For sure, I have unlocked a new favorite of mine. Thanks a lot for being with us today. Again, my name is Paolo Pettenuzzo from Electrolux Professional. It has been a pleasure to stay together with you all. Ciao.
So here we are in the end of our 7th episode. I think Chef Paolo should be here with us to say the closing remarks.
Yeah, here I am.
So, Chef.
So again, thanks a lot for watching. I have seen many comments and recently I've just attached a couple of recipes. In case there's something missing, I will anyway write a couple more things during the next couple of seconds. Again, thanks a lot. Thank you for watching these episodes from Waste to Wonder. Together with War Chef. So again, thanks a lot for giving me the chance. Thanks a lot to Electrolux Professional, that is the brand that I'm working together with since the last 12 years, more or less. I had the pleasure of showing you all how beautiful it can be transform food waste into culinary art. If you want to discover more recipes, don't forget to follow us on our socials. Of course, all of us, we have War Chef, we have Electrolux Professional. You can find mine personal one in Instagram or Facebook. We can always be in contact, and for any recipes, requests, or questions, I'm always super happy to help.
Amazing. And for our chefs, just to let you know, we have another episode for this year. It's going to be by the end of the year, but we're not going to launch the date yet. But soon enough, you're going to have the opportunity to learn more about the second episode as well of Art and Science for 2025. Chef Paolo, thank you very much. We are a bit over time, and I know you have to travel, so I'm letting you go. Good luck and see you soon.
Talk to you soon, and thanks a lot for being